So this is part 2 of a 2-part video that was a request or a couple of requests that I had gotten to do a racket streaming live. Um, I did the main strings on the first video, which are the up and down strings. I am now going to do the crosses, which are the left and right strings on this racket. In the first video, I went through cutting the string, measuring it, the names of the parts of the racket and so forth. So I'm going to kind of skip through that because the crosses take me a little while. Again, I'm not the fastest. Again, I really love the string, but there's people that are much faster than I in terms of doing crosses, respectively. So I just am kind of going to go over how to start them, and I'll really try to finish it on video. But if it gets too monotonous to watch, I mean, I'll get it. I'll stop it. But I definitely want you to know how to start the mains, or excuse me, start the crosses, how to know where to tie them off, and which is you're going to be your last hole, and where to find where to tie it off at the bottom, in essence, to finish it. So that's my goal here. Again, I'm not the fastest with the crosses. So anyway, the racket has not been taken off the machine. It's still in exactly the same spot it was in. I just took a quick break, but I need to start my cross strings. Usually, the majority of the time, you string a racket's crosses from top to bottom. So the majority of the time, you can assume, and don't always assume anything, or never assume anything, but 9 times out of 10, you're starting at the top. So I don't have the stringing patterns for this, but the first thing I'm going to look at is where can I potentially tie this off on the top. So I see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 has a bigger grommet hole. So I look at that and I say, okay, that's a place where I can stick another string in, tie a starting knot, and it just so happens that my first cross string is right below that. So I can pretty much assume that my first cross string is going to be tied off at 7 head, and my first cross is going to begin at 8 head. All right, I'm going to glance over here because I was doing this live a minute ago and it cut off on me, so I'm just checking it. So I'm going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 head. And again, sometimes I can't get this through there because there's 2 strings through that hole. So how do I get that? How is it that I get that through there? I get my angle cutters and I cut it at an angle. Okay? That makes a point. So that point, I should be able to get it through. If I cannot, there are tools to get it through. Awl, Pathfinder awl. This, stick it through one side. This string comes through the other side, and then as you pull this out, push the string through. Pathfinder awl doesn't always work. Sometimes the grommets are too small to get this through. If you can get it through, or you can wedge it down and through without breaking another string, you can get this through, pull the handle out, it'll expose a tube, and you can put the string through the tube and then remove the tube. But I find that I rarely have an opportunity to use it. Sometimes I do, and it's great. 50% of the time I can't use it anyway. So to tie a starting knot, I'm going to go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7 head with that cutoff point. I know I can get it through because I checked this before I started the video, because sometimes it takes a while to get it. So here we go. So the starting knot, I went in the hole. I'm going over the string, under the string, back up twice, over, under, back up. So I have 2 loops in my hand. Okay, I'm going to go around it and then back through both loops. Okay, and then I'm going to pull. That's a standard starting knot. That's what I use. There's a bunch of different knots. You can check them out on YouTube and so forth. But that's what I use, the standard starting knot. So I know that my next mission is to, and again, I'm just checking this camera because it's cut off on me before. I'm going to put this through my first cross. Now, a lot of times you'll get a starting knot that's right next to your first cross grommet hole. You don't want necessarily your string to crinkle over the knot or be too much, so make sure the knot is at least tightened down good enough before you pull tension on it that you're not pulling your string over the top of the knot. Anyway, it's kind of a rare thing, but this is an older racket and I see it's a possibility. So I'm going to get my bent nose pliers and I'm going to go ahead and tighten this starting knot down more than I had it. And now I have no worry about my string sawing on my knot or marring my string or whatever. So I'm going to get this end of the string and I'm going to cut it at an angle. Now this is the blocked hole that I was discussing in the first video. I'm going to put on my Benjamin Franklin glasses because this is where my eyes fail me every time, right? They snap. Whoosh, whoosh. Alright, so look. This is my 8th hole, my 8th grommet hole. It is blocked. That polyester string is blocking my hole, okay? Right in the middle of it. So I'm like, geez, how am I going to get through there? Well, again, I cut it at an angle. If this does not go through, then I have to go to the tools. Alright? So, here we go. Can I get it through? She may be trouble. Bent nose pliers, I'm going to try to push it through with the point. Got it. That was easy. Most of the time, a lot of the time, you can find yourself in a real dilemma there. But don't worry about it. If you're patient with it, you'll get it through. All right. So again, I've got the same amount of grommets on either side of the center of the racket. Over, under, over, and under. That's the consensus here. Over, under, over, under, over, under. All the way up. So if I go over this one on this side, just by sheer numbers, I'm going to go under on this side. Over when I come back through and over here, it should be opposite all the way down. If I do a double over somewhere or double under somewhere and I'm not paying attention, it'll come out wrong. And then plus a customer will get upset about it. Or if you're stringing your own rackets, then you wish you did a better job. So, I'm not the fastest guy in the world on doing crosses, admittedly. So, the goal is to get it over the first one, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Now, there's a quicker way to do this. Over, under, okay, over, under, over, under. All right. Now, if I get to right here, I know I went over on the first one, and I'm under on the last one, okay? So that's not always the case. That definitely means I got it right, but you can be pretty confident that you did, but I would still go check and make sure you're over and under, over and under. And I am. Now, I've run into another blocked hole. So, because my end frayed going in this side, I can't get it out because the end's still frayed. So I've got to cut another angle. I may not be able to get it through here, but we're going to try. She won't go out on her own. So I'm going to get my bent nose pliers. Got her through. So that was a pretty easy one. So I'm going to pull my line through, or my string. I'm going to check and make sure it's still recording. So we're still good. So I'm gonna pull this through. Now you see how this is rotating on me? I want to pull my brake out, which is this knob here, so it doesn't spin on me. So I turn my brake on, and I don't want to just start pulling my line through or my string through. It'll put friction and start to burn my string. Okay? So I'm going to push on the string gently and then pull on it so it's not sawing in the same spot. Okay, again, this is a multi-filament string. It's not like this polyester string. It can deteriorate rapidly if you're not careful. So I definitely don't want to give it to a customer or someone like my wife that hits a real heavy ball and have any damage to the string. Because if I do, they're really going to be in a tough, or I'm really going to be in a tough spot because they're going to be upset that they hit with a million rackets or a million balls and they've never broken a string that quick. It's going to be stringer error, and I don't want to go there. So my first main I ran my first main. So I usually string a couple crosses ahead of time because I'm able to weave it quicker. I did that one kind of slow. Generally, I'll kind of just run it across, but I did that one kind of slow. So on my second main, or cross rather, my point got frayed again. I don't have a shared hole that I think here, but I'm still going to give myself another angle. I gave myself an extra foot of string, so I know I can cut some points off. So I'm going in here, not blocked. I'm going under, over, so I'm going to come out opposite on each one. So, pull my break out so it doesn't run. Alright, I know I'm going to go over, under. So I can do them a little bit quicker than I did on the first one, but nonetheless, I'm still going to be careful with it. Because if I go too fast, then it's going to be not helpful for you. But now I'm coming right back out the other side. Okay, so now I should be able to pull my string through quicker than I did before. See how much easier it is to pull through? Now I can keep my leg here and keep my machine from rotating, but I'd rather just pull my brake. And then I don't have to use my leg. Okay, whoops. So I haven't pulled tension on my first string yet, so I want to do that. And this is going to secure my knot as well. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it through. Pull tension. There goes my knot. Again, I'm at 60 pounds. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to clamp off. Okay. Release tension. So everything's looking good. And I'm going to go ahead and pull. Sometimes I get a little knot in my handle here, but that's okay. So I pull that back through. All right, so I don't know where that cut off. I have no idea where that cut off. Again, I don't normally do a live video. I'm usually holding the camera in my hand. So again, someone asked me to do a live video that cut off at somewhere, some point. But I'm doing my crosses. And if it resumes, great. If not, then I'm sorry. But anyway, so I'm doing my mains, or my crosses rather. And I'm making sure the strings are straight. Okay. I hear my little girls coming upstairs. Make sure the door's open for them. All right. I think they're going to be all right here. Okay, so again, I'm weaving one ahead. I've got tension on both of my clamps, so I know I'm pretty safe to string one more cross ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this all the way through, loops tight, and I'm going to go right back through the other side and leave this string loose so I can pull tension on it. Hey, Lily! Let me tell them they can come up. Hey, Lily, you guys can come up when you want. Alright, so I am going back through. I'm going to have a little possum coming through here in a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's up, Gabby? You want to say hello?
Yeah.
We'll go over here and you can say hello. Come over here. Let's see. She's going to say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, there's Miss Gabby right there.
Dad, Dad, Dad.
All right. So, back to this. Lily, this camera's cut off on me like 6 times while I've been recording the same thing. So, at like every 5 minutes, will you see if it's still recording?
Yeah, how do I know if it's recording?
Well, it should say it on there, right? It's supposed to be live. Someone asked me if I would do it live. So, 21, I see where it says live 2107. Alright, as long as it says that, I guess we're good. I don't know. Alright, so back to this. Got my free help right there. Alright, going in. Alright. So, we're going to finish this thing. Okay? Alright. So, I'm just going to keep trucking along. Get my strings pretty straight there. And keep going. Okay? Still recording, Lily?
Yep, it still says it.
Alright. Now we're doing pretty good, I guess. Alright, Lily, you want to pull tension on this? Come here, Lily. We're gonna get the 8-year-old involved. Lily, come to this side. Alright? So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this string right here. Okay? Now I want you to grab this handle. I want you to go gently and turn it that way. Pull it up. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Pull it. A little bit more. Little tight. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. It's okay. Keep going. There you go. See that? Boom. Alright, now hold on. You gotta finish this mission. Alright, so look. See this clamp thing? Set your apple right there real quick. Alright. So this clamp thing right here, pull this handle up. Pull it up. Now see this switch right here? Push it that way, gently. Yeah. Alright, now slide it back just a bit. And then I want you to, no, you don't have to tighten it yet. You want to make this to come up right where that string's coming across, like this, okay? Then you put the handle down, okay? And then lock it into place, right? Yeah, here it's locked. Then all you got to do is put your left hand here, right finger there, and push that latch in. That's it. Now, hey, step one, good job. Boom. All right. You can do it, anybody can do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Even me.
You can do it, Lily. When 8-year-old can do it, she can do it. You want to try it, Gabby?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me run this through here. Still recording? Yeah, we're good. All right, come on over here. So, Gabby, I'm going to put this through all the way to the other side. I'm going to get you to pull this handle, okay? You going to be ready? All right, let's go put your tortilla down because that's really not the best thing to be eating while people are watching. So why don't we go put that over somewhere else? All right, now come here, Gabby. Let's do this. All right, so we're going to click here.
Over here, right here.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Come over here. All right, Gabby. I want you to pull this handle. Right here, right here. Up. Okay? Up. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You got it, you got it. Oh, you did it. Give me a high five on that. Boom. That's what I'm talking about, Gabby. Now look, you have to get this clamp. All right? And you have to undo the clamp. Make sure the strings are straight. And then bring it up. Flip it right here. And then lock it. Then we push this handle. Whoop, and then we're back in business. So Gabby, you did great. And then look, you make the strings go across the other ones. That's why they're called the cross strings. Alright? Alright, little one. You did great.
I'm checking if it's still recording.
I don't know if it is or not. Alright. So, still trucking along, and my end is a little frayed again. So, I'm going through. Okay. So, we are nearing the lower portion of the racket. And again, I repeat, doing mains for me is not super fast, and nor have I ever been around anyone where I particularly wanted to sit and watch them do the mains, or the crosses rather. At least someone like me. But anyway, so we're gonna keep going to the end, no matter what. We're gonna get it done. Okay.
So now I have $4. Because the tip is wiggling. So, and then Lily will be left with $2.
Still recording? Yep. All right. Sorry, I have to keep checking the camera because I told someone I would do this video. It's been cutting off on me. Probably because it's my phone. I've never done a live video, so hopefully it's coming through. I really hope so.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
Maybe you guys can like entertain them with a song or something. 'Cause what I'm doing is probably pretty boring to anybody.
So you want to end with your song, like your favorite?
Okay, we can do an interview. You want to come over here, Lily?
I'm
All right, you come over here and do an interview. All right. Here, we're going to do an interview with Gabby. All right, Gabby. What do you think about your stringing ability?
Good.
Yeah? All right, we're going to speak into this. Do you think you have a chance at being a great stringer one day?
Yeah.
You do? Why is that?
Because I've been watching you.
You've been watching?
Yeah.
Are you going to practice hard?
Yeah.
On and off the court?
Yeah.
All right. So give me a high five. I think you'll be a splendid stringer. All right.
Lily's
So, Lily, do you need to get involved? Or are you too
yeah,
scared?
Lily, get involved.
I'm not scared. I know I'm not going to be scared.
I don't even know if you could see that little girl. All right, yeah. All right, here we go. So let me finish this thing up because, you know, my hands are turning into petrified wood.
Lily, let's draw.
No.
You want to get involved by saying this? Daddy, you have a picture of a bird?
But I like the picture of the bird.
And we're gonna get 100 subscribers.
What's a scriber?
A subscriber that votes for us.
You mean a subscriber?
Yeah.
All right.
And affinity. Comment down below.
Still on.
Lily, you wanna draw with me?
It's still on.
I hope so.
Yeah, you better hope so, because it is on. It's called what are we gonna call? We're gonna name our video and we're gonna name it K-Tennis. K-Tennis. Good one. Right? K-Tennis. We're gonna name it.
The only one small downfall or the downside, in my opinion, that comes with the crank machine, it's no big deal. It's the only downfall. I love the machine. Love it. But if you have a electronic tension head, generally you don't have to worry about this handle where your string gets caught in. The handle is the only downside that I would say of a crank machine. I really love it though. I mean, if in my opinion, if you were going to spend $5,000 on something, and then on the other hand spend maybe $2,000 on something, and the only difference for that amount of money being, in my opinion, for having a handle sometimes that gets in the way, well worth it. Well worth it. Totally love the machine. Handle is no big deal. So if that's the only downside, then I'm very, very happy with that. All right, so we are getting close. Remember, if you miss an over-under, you will end up with a blocked hole or a missed hole, or something along those lines. So try to remember to go back and look at least a little bit at your overs and unders before you just go back the other way. It's always smart to do that. So here's that little handle issue, but again, it's no big deal. No big deal. Okay? Again, I'm weaving a second one. Over, under, over, under, over, under. Again, my apologies on my slowness on my crosses. Alright, when we get to the bottom, it generally gets tighter towards the bottom. So I usually use my bent nose pliers at this point because my hands have a hard time pulling it because it hurts. So I went under. This is where I want to make sure I'm not going in the wrong hole. My end of my multi-filament string is frayed a little bit, so I'm going to cut another angle on it. And that lets me go right through. Okay? So I'm getting close. Okay, getting close. I got 2 more to go. Okay, sometimes you can find yourself with not enough string when you get to the end of a cross or a main. But oh geez, when you get to the end of a cross string and you don't have enough string to get into the tension head and you don't know how to make a bridge, that can be a really tough thing to find yourself in. And see, my camera stopped on me again right at the end. I'm sure no one's watching now at this point anyway. But that's alright, because I told someone I would do it and I know they are. So that's all that matters. Alright, so my last cross, it went right in on the shared hole. So that's great. Don't worry about that here because I was lucky enough to not have to deal with it. It gets tight at the bottom. You will use your pliers here. They'll be your best friend, I can promise you. Okay, now I'm at my last hole. And if you can see that, there's a string that goes over my last hole. Alright, so if I stick this through there, it comes through a little bit of it, but I know I'm going to be able to get it through, but sometimes you really can't. And again, you have to use some tools here. But again, that's a question if someone asked me to do this video live stringing and not necessarily a bunch of specifics. So I'm going to get a hole, or go through the hole with that angle. It went right through. Pull tension on my last cross, or second to last rather. Okay, it's too tight for me to pull with my fingers like I was telling you, so I'm going to use my pliers, easier on your fingers. Don't want to pull that close. Alright, now, last cross. There's my tension, my clamp, in place. Alright, now is the finishing knot. The racket's done. Making sure it's recording. So the racket's done. So I'm going to tie off my last knot. So I'm going to make sure I've got a nice angle wire cutter or string cutter, because this is a shared hole again. Okay, I got a nice angle. The tie off hole again, you can see generally because your grommet hole is bigger. Okay, so I know that on this racket that it looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 is open. So I plan to tie it off at one of those holes, and it looks like 8. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we are going to tie off. Now, the tie-off knot is no different than the knot that we use for our mains, okay? Sorry, I was checking on some food there. All right, so we've got cut. We want to find that shared hole that's big enough for me to go in through, okay? And this is definitely a very blocked hole, but we are going to get it through as part of it. So I cut it off at an angle. I get my bent nose pliers. And it doesn't want to go through. So we tell ourselves, what do? So what I'm doing is I'm literally trying to find me a space where I can get this through this grommet hole. And I don't want to start poking awls around and start making a mess of things. So I really want to be patient here, because you can get yourself in a bind by not using your right hole. So my hole here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm at 4 throat. My problem, I'm going to get it through, but my problem is that I have one string going through the grommet strip, and I need to get this string through there as well so I can tie off on it. This is where you can either use an awl or a Pathfinder awl. If I use a Pathfinder awl here, I run the risk of popping or marring that string on the inside. Same too with a regular awl, but if I go gently with it, I feel like I can slide it right through, and I did. So be careful just pulling out a tool and going for it without stopping and thinking about it for a minute, because you can really cause unnecessary damage. So here I'm going to go over, under, and through. Remember, I have to rock that knot to get this space out. This is a multi-filament string, so I can do it with my hand. And release my clamp. Both of them. And I'm going to finish my knot by another over, under, and through. I'm going to get my wire cutters, or string cutters, however you want to call them. One knot, 2 knots, unmount the same way I put it on. And we've got a nicely done tennis racket. So always make sure your strings are straight. It's a nice thing to deliver a tennis racket with everything straight. Again, this is a hybrid job with a polyester main and a multi-filament cross. My wife generates a lot of her own power, so she tends to like it not super loose, but not super tight either. So again, I put it right in the middle at about 60 pounds. Generally, I do not do live videos, and I usually do not do stringing videos. It's not really something I've got into yet, but hey, maybe we'll start. Anyway, so sorry it took so long, but again, for the person that asked, you know who you are. That's the 101, man, and I hope it helps you. It helped me get better too. So hey, appreciate you watching. Subscribe below. This is part 2. And again, we just strung a racket. The best I could explain, given that I'm not the best teacher. So appreciate it. Keep in touch. 5K Tennis. Subscribe below. We can use your help. All right. Appreciate it. Take care. Thanks.